History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, everyone can enjoy.
Calls in the storms Thursday. Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling her.
This is the first time in a long they haven't let it. See the some of your
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. Live from KPRC, this is Channel 2 News at 10.
Happening right now at 10. A security guard accused of opening fire in a sports bar. Tonight, one man is dead and others are injured. Hear from a man inside the bar when that shooting started.
Plus, wedding woes. A venue closes its doors, leaving couples out thousands of dollars and with no place to exchange their vows.
And a frantic search for Frida, a man now hunting for his dog after his car was stolen with her inside.
Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jonathan Martinez.
And I'm Sion Rhodes. We begin tonight with yet another wedding in limbo and a local couple out thousands of dollars. Last year, Noah's event venue abruptly closed its Sugar Land location, leaving couples scrambling for a location to start their happily ever after.
And now it's happening once again, this time shuttering the doors in Katy. Channel 2's Bill Barajas joins us live with this story. Bill?
Well, we're just outside of Noah's in Katy. You can see on the front door here, there is no signage that it is closed down. Now, we did try to call Noah's earlier, but have not heard back from them as of news time tonight. What you will find if you Google Noah's is this here. It's clear as day. It says permanently closed, and there's stories like this across the country.
It's supposed to be the best day of my life, and now we're left with unresponsiveness and just struggling.
This bride-to-be did her best to hold back tears. Angelica Gonzalez says her fairy tale romance to her high school sweetheart has now been put on hold.
Saturday, I received a call from the DJ that I booked for my event, and he explained that there were some sketchy news stories online about the venue I had booked in Katy, which is Noah's events venue. He said that he heard it might be closing.
That news was hard on Gonzalez and her family. Her big day scheduled for March 21st with a guest list of about 200 people. She, alongside her mom, tells us she booked with Noah's in April of 2019. She's paid them about $12,000. Their most recent payment was about $4,877 for the bar, a payment accepted by Noah's just 2 weeks ago.
Noah's events venue is a do-it-yourself type of venue where we have to find our own vendors, contract with them, and have them come to the wedding. So we've contracted with many vendors for our event. So
you're talking about food?
Food, flowers, decoration, everything.
This isn't the first time Noah's Event Center has left brides scrambling. The company closed down 3 Texas stores, including their Sugar Land location, in July of 2019 when it filed for bankruptcy.
I don't blame the people that worked at the venue. I don't believe they knew anything. They were all really great to us, but we should have been notified. But we didn't get any notice, and now we're left with nothing.
And Gonzalez says her family has not ruled out legal action, but said they will wait to hopefully talk to the company. They will start looking for new venues starting tomorrow morning. Live in Katy, Bill Barajas, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Bill, thank you. Happening now in the future of space, a mission to the sun. An Atlas V rocket carrying the Solar Orbiter spacecraft launching now from Cape Canaveral, Florida. A live look for you as it heads up into the atmosphere. The $1.5 billion solar probe is a collaboration between NASA and the European Space Agency. The orbiter will observe the sun with a telescope and capture images, create a one-of-a-kind picture of how the sun can affect the space environment throughout the solar system. It will also give scientists their first views of the sun's poles. Things are looking all good so far.
Yeah, everything is pretty good. We'll have much more on that, I'm sure, on clicktohouston.com if you'd like to follow along. But as Sion said, everything looks pretty good there.
I love a nighttime launch, right? From Cape Canaveral.
It's always pretty
I lived
nice.
in Orlando for almost 8 years, and that was such a cool thing to get to see.
Yeah, we're listening in right now.
Engine response looks good.
I got to tell you, I'm just blown away that we still, to this day, can take something, fight gravity, launch it off of this planet, and then bring things back safely.
We can.
Like, I'm speechless, just blown away by this as well.
Very nice.
Yeah, you know, what's interesting about this, guys, is we're going to learn a whole lot about the sun. Even, you know, we all say, well, the sun. We know it warms everything. It basically generates weather, which is what keeps everything alive on this planet. But there is so much mystery about the sun that we do not know. And so it's exploration like this, which is going to give us, hopefully, a lot of answers, especially talk about some of the polarities and whatnot. So,
yeah, a lot of
going to be interesting, that's for sure. We'll have to watch it.
Showers passing through our area today, and more, wouldn't you know it, on the way for the work week.
Yeah, it's going to get real busy over the next, let's say, 24, 36, 72 hours, day 1, 2, and 3 of the work week. I'm expecting it to look very much like this. Scattered showers, and even as you go just to the north of us, we had a severe thunderstorm warning north of College Station up in the northern Brazos. So atmosphere is getting ripe for some eruptions is probably the best way to put it. I don't think it'll happen for everybody, but there is a chance that we're going to be dealing with some quick downpours at times throughout the work week. Right now, it's mainly just light rain that's been moving up across Kingwood. That's sliding its way in towards eastern Montgomery County, then up towards the lake. But for the most part, it's been fairly quiet in terms of any kind of heavy rain today. But the roads are going to stay sloppy overnight and through much of the day tomorrow, too. So just keep that in mind that you're going to be dealing with this over a couple of days. Here's the other thing. That wind steady out of the southeast means the temperatures really haven't budged much all day and all evening. Still sitting right in the upper 60s to about 70 degrees. And as we take it through the morning hours, more lightly scattered rain showers, about 30–40% coverage. There's the front by about 9 o'clock. Notice it's 65 in College Station, 70 and 72 down towards Sugar Land. I'll tell you where that front goes or where it does not go and how that's going to play into our forecast. We'll get into those details, and of course talk about a potential for some heavy rain as well as we get in towards portions of the work week forecast. All coming up in just a bit.
All right, Justin, we will check in with you in just a moment. We are following breaking news meantime from Houston's south side. The Houston Police Department investigating after they say a man was ambushed and killed. It happened just before 4:30 this afternoon along Scott Street near the South Loop. Police say the man was leaving a convenience store when he was shot twice. He was taken to a nearby trauma center where he later died.
Developing tonight, a scary situation caught on camera. Patrons forced to duck for cover after an argument at a Northwest Harris County sports bar ended with a security guard allegedly opened fire. One person killed, another injured. It all happened at the Ojos Locos off the North Freeway in Barron Springs, and that's where we find Sally Mamdou, who spoke with a family member of one of the victims. Sally?
And Sian, we're outside this bar. It has been closed all day, expected to open tomorrow morning. Now, in the meantime, I spoke to one of the family members related to one of the victims shot, and he tells me they were on their way out leaving when suddenly the security guard attacked his cousin. Chaos erupts during closing time inside Ojos Locos Sports Bar on the North Freeway. A security guard captured on cell phone camera firing his gun several times and then turning the gun on the crowd.
When he pulls it out and he shoots, you see me ducking my head because I thought he struck me.
But the bullet didn't strike Pablo Escobar. It did, however, hit his cousin, you see right in the video.
Look at his arms. He's pulling him in. And so, yeah, that's me, and I'm going after him. I'm trying to break it up. I'm trying to get my cousin back.
Pablo says it was during closing time when one of the three security guards started to yell an explicit at the crowd to get out. Pablo says the agitated guard pulled a stool from underneath his cousin. His cousin started confronting him, but Pablo says that's when the security guard started pulling his cousin.
Nobody's swinging at him. Nobody's grabbing him. Nobody's grabbing his weapons. So the other security guards aren't in that same mindset. This guy was just out to kill. and he was looking for justification.
One of the other bullets fired killed a man who we are not identifying, but in the video you see his injuries don't stop the guard from pointing a gun at people near the man.
Why? I mean, we're all leaving. Nobody just came to this bar to sit here and stake out past 2 o'clock. We're leaving. Nobody's grabbing him. I mean, this guy's going after these guys. Nobody's attacking him. We're leaving. The video is shot at the front corner of the bar.
As of right now, no charges have been filed against the security guard. We're live in North Harris County. Sally Hunter, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Sally, thank you for that. Only on 2, a man's desperate search to find his beloved pup stolen along with his car from his apartment complex near Westheimer and Hillcroft in West Houston. Jorge Garza says he left his 2-year-old golden doodle named Frida inside of his locked car for just a couple of minutes while he ran back inside of the apartment. But when he returned, though, there was glass along the pavement and his Volkswagen and Frida both gone. Garza says he's devastated and doesn't really care about his missing car. He just wants his dog back.
For me, Frida is practically like a daughter. She's a dog that I love very much. But because of what happened, it hurts very much.
Garza says he can't imagine who would have taken his car or Frida because he doesn't have beef with anyone. He is offering a hefty reward to get Frida back, $3,000 to be exact.
An update on the deadly explosion that happened a couple of weeks ago. Local Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee today calling on leaders from Watson Grinding and Manufacturing to help dozens of victims impacted by the blast. The Congresswoman holding a press conference asking for Watson to meet with her and the Red Cross to create an app where victims can file claims with the company. That explosion killed 2 workers and damaged more than 400 homes and businesses.
You think the company being responsible would meet with Civic Club leaders, would determine how best they can do? Look at the damage. These businesses have not been opened. People who work here cannot provide for their family. What is the company doing to help these people?
2 court hearings are set for tomorrow to possibly set 2 more temporary restraining orders against the company.
A Brazoria County church group is left without a place to worship tonight after a fire destroyed their church. Around 7 o'clock this morning, flames engulfed the Greater New Macedonia Baptist Church along FM 521 in Rocheron. It's about 13 miles north of Angleton. The building was a total loss, we're told, but thankfully no one was inside at the time.
We getting ready to have church this morning, and now we got nowhere to worship, so, it kind of, and the elders don't come out. This is the only time they come out to this church. And so it just hurts, man. It's hard.
Firefighters are still working to figure out the exact cause of that fire. However, they tell us they do not suspect foul play. Well, we've already seen the incredible lineup of artists headed to H-Town for the Houston Rodeo.
But another group of entertainers heading to the area will be announced tomorrow. The Galveston County Fair and Rodeo set to announce their lineup for the event. It's going to happen tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Officials will unveil the 14 musical acts set to perform at the event that runs from April 17th through the 25th. And it is that time of year again, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo growing ever closer.
Yes, it is. We cannot wait. And with the event nearing, the personal invitations for Governor Greg Abbott and other state leaders officially getting on the way this morning. Giddy up. The 71st Pony Express ride took off from NRG Park this morning bright and early at 7:30 and is set to arrive at the Capitol steps tomorrow at noon. The annual event sees the Harris County Sheriff's Office Mounted Patrol Unit deliver invitations across over 170 miles on horseback.
A trip across the Atlantic breaking a world record.
Still to come, just how fast a British Airways flight made the trip from New York to London and the reason why.
Plus, arrested outside the White House, a Florida man taken into custody after allegedly making a threat at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. What he allegedly told Secret Service he was there to do.
And police officers ambushed a man is in custody following 2 attacks in the Bronx. That's next on Channel 2 News at 10.
You're watching Channel 2, Houston's home for news.
Tonight in the Bronx, a suspected gunman in custody after 2 attacks targeting police officers.
NBC's Susan McGinnis has the very latest on the shooting rampage.
A New York police lieutenant is in stable condition, shot in the arm after a gunman walked into a Bronx police precinct Sunday morning and opened fire. The attack came just 12 hours after a shooter opened fire on 2 officers sitting in their police van Saturday night, hitting one twice in the chin and neck. Police believe the same gunman is responsible for both shootings.
We are confident that he is the same person who attempted to assassinate our police officers last night.
The shooter is identified as career criminal Robert Williams, arrested previously for homicide and gun possession and reportedly released from custody only recently. New York City's mayor saying Williams had an agenda.
It was a premeditated effort to kill, and not just to kill other human beings, but to kill those who wear a uniform that represents all of us.
New York's commissioner crediting quick action by police and grateful no one was killed.
It is only by the grace of God and the heroic actions of those inside the building that took him into custody that we are not talking about police officers murdered inside a New York City police precinct.
We will fight back with everything we have, because we have to protect not only New Yorkers, but everything that we believe in this city.
The injured officers are expected to fully recover. In Washington, Susan McGinnis, NBC News.
Developing now, officials investigating what led to the shooting of 2 U.S. soldiers killed in an attack in an eastern Afghanistan province yesterday. 28-year-old Javier Gutierrez from San Antonio and 28-year-old Antonio Rodriguez from New Mexico were both killed. 6 other people were injured. The Defense Department says the 2 men were killed when an Afghan dressed in an Afghan army uniform opened fire. An Afghan Defense Ministry official says the gunman had been arguing with the U.S. forces before opening fire. The official says the gunman was not a Taliban infiltrator.
A Florida man is in a mental hospital tonight after being accused of threatening to assassinate President Donald Trump. 25-year-old Roger Hedgepeth was arrested outside of the White House yesterday after investigators say he told a Secret Service police officer, quote, "I'm here to assassinate President Donald Trump." He then told the officer he planned to do it with a knife, which was found on him after that search. The Secret Service says the suspect was a missing endangered person as well as a mental health patient.
A search underway tonight for the driver of a van who crashed into a Republican Party tent. It happened yesterday in the parking lot of a Walmart in Jacksonville, Florida, where a local Republican Party was registering voters. No one was hurt. Investigators say it's not clear if it was politically motivated. On Twitter, the president weighing in, tweeting, quote, "Law enforcement has been notified. Be careful, tough guys who you play with." Well, a cat's narrow escape was caught on camera in California. The feline scurrying away from 2 coyotes in Sacramento. The picture is showing the pair of coyotes just out and about in a neighborhood. But if you look closely, you see a cat just barely escaping the wild animals, scurrying up a tree. Investigators say coyotes in the area have become more brave and are continuing to move into more urban areas.
Well, you watched live as a solar orbiter launched from Cape Canaveral at the top of the newscast, but it wasn't the only launch scheduled today. In fact, a rocket set to launch from a NASA facility in Virginia this afternoon had to be postponed.
Northrop Grumman's Antares rocket set to carry nearly 4 tons of supplies, science experiments, and treats. This will be the 13th commercial cargo flight to the space station. Among the dozens of experiments set to make it to the station, also some fresh fruit, candy, and even conditioned cheeses for the astronauts. And sticking to the skies, British Airways has now broken the record for the fastest ever subsonic flight between New York and London, reaching top speed of more than 800 miles per hour. The Boeing 747 aircraft flew overnight from Saturday to Sunday, reaching its destination in just 4 hours, 56 minutes. According to Flight Radar 24, an online flight tracking service, the plane reached that top speed of 825 miles to be exact. They say they estimate that average time if a plane were to fly between London and New York is about 6 hours, 13 minutes. So shaving quite a bit of time off there.
Sign me up to cross the pond and quick flight speed.
But man, those ears would be popping, right?
Yeah.
More than usual.
Yeah.
If that plane depressurized, you bet it would going that fast.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if they were up front, they were calling into the booth, they're like, we need a gate now. Right? We're
going to be pulling it a little bit early.
Well, it's one of the reasons why. We'll talk about this at 10:30. I'll show you the jet stream because there's a powerful storm going across the Atlantic. So that's what the jet stream is, folks. That's why it's called the jet stream. They get up in there in those fast-moving winds in the middle part of the atmosphere and just shoot on through. We are going to see some storms coming through the jet stream for us over the next couple of days. I'll show you. It's got a big dip out west. First, though, we actually did get a little bit of sunshine today. And this is from our good friend Ron down in Galveston. That's from the Galveston Island State Park. And that was it. Other than that, it's been overcast. You can see kind of the wet roads and the reflection there. That's from right here at Channel 2. And for the most part, it was a warm day today. Warm and muggy. I cannot stress enough what we're going to see with these temperatures. They probably will not budge much over the next couple of days. Everyone today sitting in the low 70s, so not anywhere near the records, but still running at about 8 to 10 degrees above where we should be this time of year. And in fact, this front's going to continue to sag southward and get hung up between here and Dallas and really not move anywhere. You can see the 40s and 30s as you get to the Panhandle, and south of there, from anywhere from San Antonio over to Houston here, we're sitting right at about 70 degrees, which is kind of where we're going to sit for much of the night tonight, that steady southeast wind. I don't expect this to change much, and so as this pumping in all that Gulf moisture, it's going to keep the mugginess factor around, and these dew points are all running in the upper 60s to about 70 degrees. If we get them this high and we're still in, winter pattern here as we are in early February, that's enough juice in the atmosphere that if we can get some storms rolling over the next couple of days, we could get a couple of aggressive ones. In fact, notice on our futurecast as we take it through tomorrow morning, most of that is going to be on the light side, but the temperatures really don't change. And then as we head into the afternoon, there's the front. You say, well, how do you tell? Well, our cold front is a change in air mass, 62 at College Station, 72 in Brenham. So notice it gets hung up there. It doesn't really move much throughout the day, and that's going to be part of the problem, is that the rain is all going to be sort of accessed from southwest to northeast, and we're going to stay in kind of the murky part of that, meaning that we're going to keep those temperatures in the 70s. So we're going to see these little disturbances kind of roll through that jet stream. There it is right there, and things getting a little aggressive as it gets a little further east of us here. We got a bit of a lid on the atmosphere for us. But this storm, if you were watching some of the early Oscar coverage earlier today, they were getting hail in LA. That is going to eventually roll through here, and as it does, that is what is going to give us a chance for some heavier rain as we get in towards Wednesday's forecast. So notice, by Monday afternoon, this first low swings on through. Front gets stuck, doesn't really go anywhere. We've got a bit of a quasi-warm front, meaning that it slowly lifts northward, keeps most of the heavy rain Tuesday up near Dallas, but still keeps some streaming showers and occasional thunderstorms for us. And then as we get into Wednesday, that's why it looks a little beefier, because that big area of low pressure moves in. It's going to be in the higher part of the atmosphere as well, so it's kind of like a bowling ball as it comes through. And I do expect that we are going to see some stronger storms, especially, I think, Wednesday morning into the early afternoon part before that eventually slides eastward and gets out of here, and we finally get a couple of drier days, but it is going to take a little bit of time for that to happen. So in terms about how much rain we might see with that, anywhere from around 2 to 3 inches, maybe a half an inch to an inch as you go south of I-10, but it is going to be a little sloppy out there on the roads for the first couple of days. Cleared out in time for Valentine's Day, so no excuses out there, fellas. And then as we get in towards the weekend, of course, Roughnecks have a game on Sunday and should be another good one. Hopefully they can go 2 in a row. I got to tell you, I was watching a bunch of those games today, Randy, and they look like the strongest team of the bunch so far that I saw.
Early prediction.
Just saying.
It's just in. All right. Thanks a lot for that, Justin.
All right, so we're talking about a big game at Toyota Center.
I mean, fans went out there. They did not leave. They got their money's worth tonight. A great game. Not the result the Rockets wanted, though, at the end. Small ball worked all night until the final play by the Jazz. We'll take a look at the plays that led up to this buzzer beater. Straight ahead. Tough loss tonight. Plus, don't look now, but the U of H Cougars, I think they're tournament ready already here in February. Highlights from their big win over Wichita State coming up. All right, welcome to the Xfinity Sports Desk tonight. Here's what's happening. Let's start with basketball. Rockets have back home putting their small ball lineup to the test again tonight. Rockets enter tonight 5th in the West, taking on the 4th-seeded Utah Jazz. What a game. A possible first-round matchup. This one went to the wire. Late in the game, Rockets down 2, but Robert Covington, the new guy, dials up the 3-ball to put them up 1. Jazz free throws put them back on top, but with 1.6 left, look at P.J. Tucker. Clutch to put them back up. But Utah has the final dagger at the buzzer. Bojan Bogdanovic, game winner. How about that? That's tough to swallow right there. The Jazz with a 114-113 win at Toyota Center. We've got a lot of post-game reaction coming up on Sports Sunday tonight. U of H hosting Wichita State today at Fertitta Center. Excellent crowd today, making a lot of noise, trying to beat Wichita State for the second time in a couple of weeks. How about some defense that led to the bucket on the other end? Cougars pulling away early. Caleb Mills had a big day, one of 5 Cougs in double figures. Quentin Grimes finding Chris Harris for the slam as well. Cougars doubling up Wichita State most of the night, and they went big. They blow them out 76-43. Cougar reaction on Sports Sunday. Big weekend at the annual TriStar Collector Show. It's a big hit. Always, every year at NRG Arena. The stars were out, including a pair of Astros players, including Yuli Gurriel and pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. Next stop for these guys is West Palm Beach for spring training. McCullers is healthy, and he's fired up.
Everyone's really excited to, get me back and get going, which is a good feeling, and I'm excited. I leave for spring training tomorrow, and I'm very ready to get going.
All right, a lot of guys heading that way. We'll be there starting, we get there Tuesday night, starting coverage on Wednesday as well. A lot of coverage on Sports Sunday, 11 o'clock. Astros, Rockets, Roughnecks. We got y'all.
But wait, there's
Love having that extra stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got it.
Still ahead tonight, an extremely close call for an East Texas country music artist and his crew when their tour bus goes up in flames. What we know about the fire and where that band was heading.
And suiting up, the Barbers Hill teen who made national headlines over his hair makes his Oscars debut. His red carpet appearance up next.
Live from KPRC, this is Channel 2 News at 10.
Still developing tonight, an altercation at a sports bar, ending in gunshots. One person dead, another injured. A person who witnessed the chaos speaking out tonight.
And the impact of the coronavirus crisis here in the Lone Star State. The new details being shared from officials out in Bexar County.
And Hollywood's finest being honored at the Academy Awards, who walked away with an Oscar in just a few minutes. A Houston couple's big day quickly becoming their big nightmare.
Yeah, that couple is now out thousands of dollars after Noah's event venue closed without any type of warning. Angelica Gonzalez says she's been planning her dream wedding with her high school sweetheart for almost a year now. She tells us she booked with Noah's back in April of 2019 and even paid them $12,000 for the venue along with the bar. But now she's left scrambling, she says. She actually got word yesterday that Noah's was closed down without any notification. Gonzalez is now left trying to find a new location to hold her 200 wedding guests.
It's supposed to be the best day of my life, and now we're left with unresponsiveness and just struggling.
Now, this isn't the first time Noah's Event Center has left brides scrambling. The company closed down 3 Texas stores last year when it filed for bankruptcy and included their Sugar Land location.
The family member of one of the victims shot Sunday morning during a deadly shooting at a Northwest Harris County sports bar is speaking out tonight. The cousin of that victim that was shot in the shoulder telling us the security guard was agitating everyone in the crowd at closing time. We're then told the guard approached the group and pulled the stool from underneath one of the men. That crowd then began confronting the guard, and as the guard was pulling the victim's cousin, that's when video shows the guard turned the gun on everyone in the bar.
Nobody's swinging at him. Nobody's grabbing him. Nobody's grabbing his weapons. So the other security guards aren't in that same mindset. This guy was just out to kill, and he was looking for justification.
Now, Pablo says his cousin who was struck in the shoulder is now listed in good condition.
Officials at the Bexar County Jail are taking extra precautions tonight after they say an inmate claimed that he was exposed to the coronavirus. The inmate is experiencing flu-like symptoms, and officials say he has been put in a quarantine cell out of an abundance of caution.
Probably doing this in an abundance of caution, but that's why we have these facilities set up for anything like that comes in, whether it's coronavirus or not. If somebody has airborne pathogens that they may be exposing the inmate population or our deputies to, we put them in these cells. And so that's where he is, and that's where he will remain until we're given the clearance by University Health Systems that he can be moved.
China has reported another rise in the cases of the virus as the death toll now sits just above 900 with more than 40,000 cases. Meantime, a local representative is working to help put Houstonians at ease when it comes to the growing concerns surrounding the coronavirus. Representative Al Green held a news conference today in Chinatown, reassuring residents that they have nothing to worry about.
We find that many people are not understanding the circumstances that actually exist. Many people are basing their decisions on fear and not facts. It's important to say this. This virus is not in this area. There's no confirmed case.
Health officials say there are currently no cases in Houston or Harris County.
Now to New Hampshire, where the Democratic presidential hopefuls are campaigning around the clock and across the state, 2 days ahead of the first in the nation primary there. Jay Gray is on the trail with a closer look at the race that's intensifying.
The road to the Democratic nomination.
So people will come up.
Lines past diners and cafes.
We'll build a campaign.
Town halls and gymnasiums across New Hampshire. The political fight on the ground here. Hand-to-hand combat.
And what this campaign is about is asking people to think outside of the box.
Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg.
We need our stories brought to Washington. And the answers are going to come to Washington, not from Washington.
Leading in the polls.
This isn't about polls. This is about how we repair an America that's not working for most Americans.
Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden looking to close the gap.
And my dad used to have an expression. It's not whether you get knocked down, it's how quickly you get up.
Amy Klobuchar seems to be the wild card right now, behind, but gaining momentum and more than $2 million in donations after a strong debate performance.
That we need a president that brings people together instead of shutting them out. Someone that is able to win big, and that's me.
The New Hampshire primary, an important bridge to deciding who will ultimately battle President Trump for the White House.
I think if the right candidate comes to the top, then things can happen and could be a real race.
The race for Democrats picking up the pace significantly from here, with 2 debates, another caucus and primary, all in the next 3 weeks.
The New Hampshire primary also has the attention of the White House. The president has a rally scheduled here tomorrow on the eve of Tuesday's vote. Jay Gray, NBC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
A damp end of the weekend with splash and dash showers around the Houston area.
Unfortunately, if you're hoping for a dry Monday, well, you're going to be out of luck. Channel 2 meteorologist Justin Stapleton in now to see exactly how wet a Monday we're going to have.
There you go.
Oh, right there.
Right there. That's going to be your Monday. I think it's going to be more splash and less dash, or you're going to have to double your dash because the splash is going to get a little higher. Starting to sound like a little Dr. Seuss here, so I'm going to get right back to the rest of the exact track. We've also got some thunderstorms out there. As you notice, they're working their way just east of Dallas. So the atmosphere is fairly ripe that we could see a couple of stronger boomers, especially as we get in towards the, hotter part of the afternoon. Even with the clouds out there, you heat the air up. It's enough that it can get things going. Mainly just light showers moving across the area now. A little fella right downtown. So they're out there. Just be mindful of that if you're getting up early tomorrow morning or if you're going to be sending the kids out to the bus stop. Certainly make sure they got the rain gear. Temperatures won't change much. They're all going to stay in the upper 60s to about 70 degrees. And notice as I take the future cast through the commute tomorrow morning, here comes the front. And it gets stuck right there up near Bryan College Station. Doesn't move south, and that's going to be a problem, not only for kind of the muggy forecast that we're going to see tomorrow and for the next couple of days, but there's also a good chance that we could be talking about a little bit of rain problems, especially to our north and working your way over in towards the Arklatex. I'm going to show you kind of a wider snapshot of just how much rain they might get and how that will affect our forecast as we get a little bit of a soggy start to the work week here, guys, in just a bit.
All right, thanks a lot, Justin. Remember, you can track the weather anytime you want by downloading Frank's free weather app. All you have to do is search for KPRC in your app store. It's the biggest night in Hollywood. The 92nd Annual Academy Awards were held this evening, and a local student was among the stars.
DeAndre Arnold, the teen at the center of the hair controversy at Barbers Hill High School, made his Oscars debut. Arnold was invited to the show by Hair Love producer Gabrielle Union and her husband Dwayne Wade. This is video of Arnold and his family and some of the producers arriving and walking the red carpet. He, of course, brought his mom as his date. In an interview, DeAndre said he was excited to be invited and called the experience validating. He was thrust into the national spotlight after being suspended because he refused to cut his locks, saying they are a representation of his heritage and culture.
From the red carpet to the stage we go as the best movies, actors, and actresses being honored tonight for their work in 2019.
Renee Zellweger won for Best Actress for her role in Judy. Joaquin Phoenix taking home Best Actor Oscar for Joker. And the Best Picture goes to Parasite. Stephanie Stanton has a rundown of some of the other big winners of the night.
Hey, you're Rick Dalton. Don't you forget it.
Brad Pitt finished off an awards season sweep Sunday night, earning Best Supporting Actor for his performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's his second career Oscar, but first for acting. The film also picked up an early victory for production design.
Can you tell me a little more about what's going on?
Like Pitt, Laura Dern also capped a stellar award season run. The daughter of Oscar-nominated parents saw her third career nomination bring her first win, Best Supporting Actress for Marriage Story.
I want you to meet Forky. Hi.
Toy Story 4 was also among the night's early winners, Best Animated Feature Film. While Best Animated Short went to Hair Love. Its writer and director, former NFL player Matthew Cherry, saluted Kobe Bryant, who won in the same category 2 years ago for Dear Basketball. Several Best Picture contenders grabbed early wins. The South Korean thriller Parasite earned Best Original Screenplay, giving director Bong Joon-ho his first Oscar.
He has conscriptions and he is a gun.
And Jojo Rabbit director Taika Waititi was also a first-time winner for Best Adapted Screenplay. Those two films and 7 others harbor hopes of claiming Oscar's top prize.
And right now on click2houston.com, you can see a list of tonight's big winners and get a closer look at the best and worst of the red carpet. Plenty of them. It's all right there under the entertainment tab. We're honoring children who are battling cancer and winning in our ongoing series, Bells for Abigail. It's a legacy left behind by Abigail Arias, a young cancer fighter who died back in November.
Families continue to send us video of their children ringing the end of treatment bell, like this one of a little boy named Jackson.
Ready? Arms up! Arms up! Make it loud.
Jackson could not get through that tunnel of love fast enough. Look at all the joy as he ran through and all those people supporting him. He rang the bell at the Texas Children's Cancer Center after 3 years of treatments for leukemia.
And we cannot get enough of it. Hey, let's go ahead and keep this going. You can upload video of your child ringing the end of treatment bell on click2houston.com/bells for Abigail. He was once a pro baller and now he's a dean of the University of Houston's Business School.
Still ahead tonight, how the lessons learned on the court translate to the classroom.
And a narrow escape for a singer getting off of his tour bus moments before it is fully engulfed. What do we know about that fire? Coming up.
This is home.
Well, it was a close call for country singer Neil McCoy. He and his band were on their way to a show in Alexandria, Louisiana, when their tour bus burst into flames. In a video posted to Facebook, the award-winning artist says he and his bandmates barely escaped the inferno, but fortunately were okay. Despite that fire, McCoy's band performed on Saturday night in Alexandria as planned. A Michigan family also able to escape what could have been a deadly situation, all thanks to their dog named Rascal.
Yeah, the dog helping a family detect a carbon monoxide leak inside their home. Diane Smith says Rascal started showing signs of slowing down Tuesday, so they took him to the vet. Well, the vet couldn't find anything wrong, so they sent him home, only for him to start acting a little bit weird again. So she texted a friend, and that friend told her it might be carbon monoxide and to get out of the house.
And I thought, well, no, because the alarm's not sounding. But I went out anyway, and I'm really glad I did, because he was perfectly fine once we got out in the fresh air.
Well, it turns out the family's furnace was busted, and despite their CO detector not sounding, the furnace was in fact leaking carbon monoxide.
Man's best friend for many reasons, that one included.
That's why we keep him around, right?
Indeed. We also keep this guy around for the weather. But we're not calling you a dog, though.
I was gonna say, where are you going with this there, son?
We're going to talk fight after the show.
I was going to say, Sion's like, I'm going to go away. I'll let you two fight over the show. All right, let's talk about the forecast here, guys. We're going to be looking at a pretty quiet night. We do have some showers out there. Nothing major, but they are there. The temperatures aren't going to move much either, as I mentioned before. We're all sitting in the upper 60s and low 70s, and that's about where we're going to park it for the rest of the night with a pretty steady southeast flow. The wind's not too bad. You get to the coast, and we're talking about a 15-mile-an-hour wind. It's a little breezy down on the island. It's kind of the way it always is whenever you get the winds coming right off of the coast there. For the most part, the dew points are high as well. And you always say, well, why do we look at this number so much? Because this is the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. The higher that number gets, the muggier it feels when you stand outside. And that also means that there's more juice for the atmosphere to kind of squeak out as this cold front gets closer to us. Now, problem with that is that normally you'd say, oh, here comes the cold front. It'll swing through overnight, cool us back into more winter-like conditions as we get to tomorrow. Problem is, it's going to get stuck, and that means that some of us will actually see a little bit of a cool down by tomorrow afternoon. The rest of us, unfortunately, will not. There is the front up near Bryan College Station. Notice the temperatures there by the afternoon are in the lower 60s. Everybody else is still in the mid-70s because that front isn't strong enough to push on through. Kind of washes out and just stays there, and it serves as a bit of a kind of a channel for where some of the heavier rain is going to set up, I think, for tomorrow. We could still see a few showers and thunderstorms get a little active as we get into the afternoon, because these mid-70 temperatures that are out there now are going to continue to provide a little bit of juice to that atmosphere. However, this is what we're looking at. Big dip in the jet stream, and this is all going to be coming across the state of Texas. So we've got a couple of different waves that will slide on through, and this storm that's out towards LA right now, you can actually pick up a little bit of swirl on that. That eventually is going to roll through here like a bowling ball and come smashing through the state on Wednesday. So we've got a few more days, and there's not much change in this pattern. So notice we've got one little area of low pressure that'll slide through. The majority of the heavy rain is going to stay north of us. Same thing with the cold air. That all stays off towards North Texas. There's the second one, kind of rolls along that boundary that sits just south of Dallas. Meanwhile, we stay in kind of the mucky weather. Then as we get into Wednesday, notice it gets a lot more aggressive, and that's because that big storm starts to move on through. So if we're going to to see anything aggressive in terms of showers and thunderstorms. I think Wednesday morning into early afternoon is probably our day. Once that slides through, by Thursday, we slowly start to dry things out, I should say, and we've got a better looking forecast once that all is out of here. Now, we're not the only ones that are going to see a chance for some heavier potential for rain, 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches as you get north up towards Lufkin and Dallas. But look at this swath from northern Louisiana over in towards Mississippi, where they could be talking upwards of 6, 8, maybe even higher amounts, and that could deal with some flash flooding. So we'll have to keep a watch on that as well. So kind of murky and muggy for the next couple of days. That clears out, cools down too by Thursday and Friday. Then as we get in towards the weekend forecast, looking pretty good. Just a slight chance for some showers to move back in as we head in towards mainly Sunday. But as I mentioned before, and I put this out on our social media just a bit ago, no excuses Friday night, fellas. You can't be like, wow, honey, it's raining. Got to stay inside.
Yeah. Flower Row is going to be packed as always night before.
Justin's on top of it as always.
That's right.
Thank you.
Aren't you?
You got it. Always.
Thank you, Justin.
Well, it turns out there are a lot of similarities between playing basketball and business. At least that's what the dean of the University of Houston's business school is telling us. Next, how he says his time on a national team made him a better educator. A man who's been recognized by many as one of the world's most influential scientific minds is now the dean of the Bauer College of Business at the University of Houston.
In tonight's Sunday Conversation, anchor Owen Conflenti sits down with Paul Pavlo and talks about his time growing up, his professional basketball career, and how he went from engineer to dean.
Who taught you about the value of higher education?
Well, I think I've always believed in education, and I mean, my life was transformed by higher education. I mean, I came from a small country in the Mediterranean. It's called Cyprus. Not many people know about it, about 1 million people. So my life was transformed by higher education. I was fortunate to get a Fulbright scholarship to come to the United States, and without getting into details, because of higher education, I was able to get into academia as a faculty member, and more recently as a dean. So part of the reason to become a dean is because I think I can, make a big difference. Hopefully, I can secure more scholarships for students, or work, as I mentioned earlier, as part of our strategic plan to make education more accessible, more affordable, so we can help more students to achieve the dream of higher education, to get a good job, and have successful careers and rewarding lives, if you may.
Well, I did want to ask you about basketball.
Okay.
Because that's just interesting. Tell me a little bit about the basketball career. You played for the national team?
That's right,
So
yes.
did you ever play for a world championship? I mean, what was that experience like?
Well, we played actually for, since I remember myself, I was playing basketball up until in the men's national team. So we played all sorts of championships at the local, regional, national, and the European Cup. So it was a great experience, especially being younger. And to play and be on TV, and of course the spirit of competition is it's very important. So of course it's hard work, and that kind of prepared me for later on in life, when I realized that I'm not as fast, as strong, as tall to be at the NBA. So academics had to take the priority. But it's been a great experience, and I always look back at all the competitions, all the events, and I think very fondly of that experience.
Is there anything that you learned, lessons from basketball, that you now apply to business?
Absolutely, yes. Actually, one of them is not very clear, but to most people. Yes, you have to be competitive, but basketball is a team sport. And you have to get along with people, with your teammates. So how to manage the politics of basketball actually can help you into a career in business, because you have to get along with people, you have to communicate, and actually it's very hard in basketball because you have to, it's a very it's a physical sport. So you have to do everything while running like crazy and jumping up and down. So it actually helps you how to interact with with people, how to be a good teammate, how to play, well with others. So while at the same time you want to compete, you want to do well. So that spirit of competition and the spirit of collaboration together, it has been quite powerful.
Is there a moment in time that you remember in your life that was crucial to getting you here today? In other words, was there that time where you could have made a left, but you made a right, and it brought you here? Or something somebody said, a personal moment that was really critical to your success that you found?
I think so, yes. Actually, I was an engineer by training, and I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, fighting with code in MATLAB, if you know. And I was like, I'm a good engineer, but I don't think I can spend the rest of my life doing this. So I decided to look for other opportunities, and that's where I got in touch with the business school. So I talked to some faculty there. So they explained to me that yes, you can use your hard quantitative skills, but you can apply them into a software in business. And information systems was at the time growing with the .com boom in the late 90s. And I said, this is very interesting things that I can use my competencies and skills in engineering and can apply them into something more open-ended.
The dean also recently setting a series of 5 goals for the school. 1, to become a world-class business school providing leading curriculum. 2, be more affordable and accessible as an institution. 3, to become a leader in digital education. 4, to become a role model among business schools for diversity and inclusion. Finally, harness the power of the alumni to create mutual benefits for them and students as well. Justin's got one more check of your forecast next.
Stay with us.
Don't look.
All right, welcome back. We're 3 minutes away from rolling out a full half hour of Sports Sunday. Join me, Ari, Vanessa, and Wex. A lot to get to. Rockets put their small ball lineup to another big test against the Jazz tonight. Came down to the final second. It was tough to watch that. Reaction after that heartbreaking loss coming up. UH Cougs sent a message to Wichita State. What Kelvin Sampson's saying about the state of his basketball team on the final stretch of this season. Astros spring training opens this week in Florida. We'll hear from a healthy Lance McCullers Jr. talking about his next step. And the Houston Roughnecks made a big splash in their debut. We're going to vote on what new rules worked and what didn't from the XFL. We actually liked a lot of it. We'll see you here, guys, in about 2.5 minutes for Sports Sunday.
All right, sounds like a plan. Thank you, Randy. We're going to wrap up this show in the meantime, though, with a whole bunch of rain in the forecast.
Yeah, we've got some rain in the forecast. As the unceremonial 5th sports guy on the team here, Randy, I got to tell you, the kickoff one I love. I think it's great. I think it's safe. So I'll let the experts.
He's going to stick around and he's going to join you.
He's got a little commentary.
I'd love to. No, anyway, I'm going to let the experts do that. I'll just tell you, we've got rain in the forecast tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So watch out for that. By Thursday, Friday, that should clear out and cool down too. But it's going to take a couple days for that.
All right. Thank you, Justin, and thank you for joining us tonight. Sports Sunday is next.
Have a great night.
Present and future.
Tonight on Sports Sunday, the Rockets have decided to go small, but tonight they played very big.
Oh, with a smash. Oh, man, it's a good thing Gobert didn't go up and
Yet not big enough. What the Rockets were saying after tonight's crushing loss.
Utah Jazz have won it.
A.J. Hinch, no longer a member of the Astros, offered his apology. Will the players follow with their own this week at spring training?
The UH campus was rocking this weekend. The Roughnecks put on a great debut on Saturday. And Kelvin Sampson's Cougars had their joint jumping today.
You never know who might stop by. Let's throw down. Sports Sunday coming at you right now.
Live from KPRC Channel 2, this is Sports Sunday.
All right, welcome into Sports Sunday, everybody. Great to have you with us. Randy, Vanessa, and Ari with you. Adam Wexler will join us shortly when we dive into the Astros. We have a little bit to talk about with the Astros and A.J. Hinch's interview a couple of days ago. A lot to get to on that. We've got a packed show for you tonight.
Yeah, we got a packed week this week.
We really have.
UFC comes to town. Yep. The XFL starts, and the Rockets, big week
And now, but very, very small rockets.
Yeah,
Hold on.
small ball.
Small rock, big week, small rockets.
Yeah, PJ Tucker on stilts, right? We're also going to talk about a current Astros player who I caught up with today. He talked a little bit about the culture, so that's coming up in a few minutes on the show as well.
Looking forward to that. Yeah, it's baseball time. Camp opens in a few days.
Yeah.
Let's get to the highlights now. And what a finish at Toyota Center tonight between the Rockets and the Jazz. If the playoffs started today, if these two would face off against one another as the fourth and fifth seed. So a great game that started extremely well for the Rockets, especially guys like Russell Westbrook. Doesn't seem like small ball with him going after Rudy Gobert and finishing right there. Then to start the second half, he did it again, this time throwing it down on the All-Star Center. Rockets led by as many as 11, but in the final minute, Rockets down 2. Check out James Harden to Robert Covington. Is this clutch or what?
Oh, yeah, Rocco. Love Rocco burying the 3, but Donovan Mitchell gets fouled, hits his 2 free throws. That's going to put Utah up by 1 with 15 seconds left. Rockets, they're just going to go for it. They do not call timeout. So Harden running the floor, gets trapped, going to find Daniel House, and then one more swing. Westbrook to the corner, and that is PJ Tucker's corner. Buries the 3 with 1.6 left, and at this point, you got to think the Rockets have won this game. Sure looked like it, and then
1.6 left to play. Ingles trying to get it in. Having trouble. Bogdanovich, tough shot. He went in!
All right, that's how it ended. How about that?
Yeah, Bojan Bogdanovich, of course, with the game winner. Well defended by Harden and Tucker. They did their job, but it drops the Rockets, who've now lost 2 of 3 since they dealt Clint Capella at the trade deadline. They won that first one and looked okay, and then they've lost the last 2.
Well, the amazing thing is with the small ball lineup, against the LA Lakers of all teams, they take care of business and get blown out by Phoenix. So this is going to be a fact. They're going to win some games, but it's all about the matchups. You got to have the guys, especially Harden and Westbrook, together. Everything has to come together if they're going to win with a small ball lineup in big situations.
And it's like PJ Tucker said tonight, they truly lost in the third quarter when they let so many shots for the Jazz get up.
I like this as a playoff series. I like the way the Jazz are constructed starting 5-wise, but I think the Rockets have one of the better benches in the league. And if they need to go big at any time, they have Hartenstein, they have Tyson Chandler for small stretches. So they can do it, but they're going all in on small ball.
That'd be a first-round matchup. I agree with you on that. If they advance a little bit deeper, I think it gets a lot tougher, though, with this kind of lineup.
And Mike D'Antoni did say he liked what he saw tonight. Robert Covington, PJ Tucker making those clutch shots. He wasn't mad about it in the press conference. Ari and I were there. He wasn't mad at all. He said, we got beat, obviously, but he wasn't mad about the effort.
Well, yeah, of course. And when you have a new guy like Robert Covington is fitting in, he's the newest Houston Rocket, and he's made an immediate impact, especially in that win against the Lakers. Then Rocco followed up another strong performance against the Jazz. So I asked Mike D'Antoni after the game, or rather before the game, how quickly it takes to adapt to the Rockets' defensive system. They switch so much. Then I asked James Harden after the game how Covington has fit in with the team so far.
The veterans, it doesn't take very long. Now, whether he has to think and just reacts takes a while, so he won't feel comfortable for 2 or 3 weeks. But, most of it is pretty straightforward, and we switch a lot.
He's a versatile guy that can guard multiple positions, so he's done an unbelievable job defensively and just even knocking down shots, which he does at a high level.
Rockets needed this one, though. Lakers still sitting on top of the West, and the Rockets a chance to jump ahead of the Jazz, but with the loss, now a game and a half behind the Jazz, just a game ahead of the Thunder and Mavericks. That 2 through 7 in the West is so tight.
It's going to be a great finish, rest of the season. But you got some more activity coming up before the All-Star break, Vanessa.
Yeah, just one more game before that All-Star break for the Rockets. That comes Tuesday night when they host the Celtics. The team will be off until next Thursday when they play Golden State. James Harden and Russell Westbrook have the All-Star game next Sunday. That is in Chi-Town. They're both with Team LeBron. Not a bad one to be with.
I should have had a more forceful interaction at the appropriate time, which would have been right when I found out. I wish I would have done more. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and we were wrong.
Former Astros manager, seems weird to say that, but A.J. Hinch opening up with MLB Network's Tom Verducci in a one-on-one interview a few days ago. Hinch taking responsibility, as he said, as the leader of the Astros. He felt like he should have done more. Hinch felt the time was right to open up and really tell his side of the story. It was a great interview with Verducci, head of Astros spring training. You want to get it out there and kind of get a head start on that. Adam Wexler, of course, Wex with us. A lot to digest from Hinch's comments, Wex. This has been a big story all week long leading up to that interview that came out.
Yeah, he's done his talking now and may do so again. We'll see what the players do. And one thing, at least to me, that stands out and it matches all of his time as manager with the Astros for his 5 years. He's still saying that he's got to protect his guys, his players, the players who essentially got him fired.
And it was interesting to me because Verducci brought that up. He said, you know, in the commissioner's report, the player said, well, if we would have been told to stop, we would have stopped. Well, Hinch took a bat to the monitor twice. So
seems like he delivered a message.
Yes, and Hinch said that hurt him when he saw that in the MLB commissioner's report.
I know we talk a lot about winning the press conference with new coaches, but I think A.J. Hinch won the damage control. After this interview, and just the way that he presented himself, I think he gets a job instantly as soon as his suspension's
I
up.
totally agree. I mean, he's well respected.
He is.
Some people say it might take 2 years. I think you're right. After the season, there are going to be openings.
He's been successful. He did this well. I think right away he gets a job.
All right, here's Hinch now. More from the interview when asked by Verducci about why he didn't do more to actually stop it.
I wish I would have. I really do. I think that's a big question that I'm going to process over what's now a season-long suspension. I think it's something that I've continued to think about, you know, certainly through the investigation and when you have to openly talk about it. I wish I would have done more. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and we were wrong.
Yeah, I think that's going to stick with AJ for a long time. Just taking that extra step, maybe that could have stopped it.
There's no question. Now, he will get another job, just like you guys said. And I think even without this interview, the same thing happens. But that's what has to happen the first day he's there. Ownership has to say it's okay for us to be hiring someone who let this happen. That's what this is all about for AJ. He let it happen. And that's what he acknowledged throughout this whole interview.
Yeah, I think the big thing that they kept bringing up is, and I think it's outside of Houston more than inside of Houston, is the title tainted? And that's like the big question. And I think it's a bizarre question. I think it's a fair question. I think it's a bizarre question because we never say, oh, the Cincinnati Reds 1919 title is tainted because of the White Sox scandal. But here's what A.J. Hinch had to say answering that question.
I hope over time it's proven that it wasn't. But I understand the question. It's a fair question, and people are going to have to draw their own conclusions. Unfortunately, we opened that door as a group, and that question may never be answered. We may never know. I can't pinpoint what advantages or what happened or what exactly would have happened otherwise. But we did it to ourselves.
Well put from A.J. Hinch. I agree. I mean, this is going to stick with this organization. No, they're not going to take the title away, but there's probably going to be an asterisk by this title for many. They're going to have to go out and prove it again.
It's like the Patriots.
Absolutely.
No one's saying the Patriots didn't win 5 championships, but everyone hates the Patriots, and that's just what they're going to have to deal with on the road.
I liked Jeff Blum a couple weeks ago who said the cure for all things, it's winning.
Absolutely.
So if they can win, they'll be fine. And of course, throughout the investigation, we haven't heard a lot from players and even after. But today we were able to catch up with a former Astro, of course, at the Tri-Star Autograph Show. Let's see some footage from that. We had Yoli Gurriel and Lance McCullers Jr. on hand. Lance meeting 1-month-old Preston. We're going to show you that in just a couple seconds. We, of course, had to ask McCullers about his mindset on the team going into spring training. He leaves tomorrow. There's Preston. How cute is that? With a little knitted hat. It has been an eventful offseason, and McCullers kind of opened up to us about the culture of the team.
We've had such a good, strong group together for a very long time now, and a lot of guys have started coming to their own. You know, starting to get a little older. You know, starting to get years under their belt. I'm going to miss AJ, but that's just you know how everything's kind of shaken out. Astros Nation has been right there along with us, going through this time period we've been going through. But it's going to be a great season. We're all going to come together, and we're looking forward to another World Series run this coming up year.
And he also said that he didn't think Dusty Baker was that different than A.J. Hinch. He said he thinks it's going to be a seamless transition and that it'll be fine. So yeah, he was definitely, out of all the Astros players we've talked to since the scandal, the most open.
He'll find out that Dusty is very, very different than AJ. AJ Hinch has an old school feel.
Yeah.
Dusty Baker is the definition of old school. And all the analytics that they've been using all these years, 5 years under Hinch and Luno, that's where he's behind the times. That's where Joe Espada has to do a huge job.
He's going to rely on his staff to kind of help him get through that. I mean, this is going to be weird at spring training. He has only spoken to a couple of the players. I think Alex Bregman called him from New Mexico or something. But he's going to be meeting the players for the first time. This first week is just going to be chaotic, learning the personnel and kind of diving in the next 6 weeks.
It's first day of school stuff for a Major League Baseball team in spring training.
Yeah, I think it's just going to show how much of it is the team and how much of it is the manager. Because if Dusty Baker can sit back and just let the talent take over, they'll be fine. But if he comes in and he has to do a lot of stuff, then it might be an issue, especially early.
All right, we're going to find out. I'll be there starting Tuesday night. Wednesday, they report it's to West Palm Beach.
And still ahead on Sports Sunday, the Cougars look like the class of the conference again. Big win today, but what did Coach Sampson say was the most impressive about today's performance?
Hey, the XFL's opening weekend, a big success. Look at the fans there. Crowds expected high ratings, and locally a Houston Roughnecks win yesterday. What the experience was like for the players and their head coach, June Jones, coming up.